You're ambidextrous.
The time he moves his stuff, I mean,
Oh, we worked hard.
I'm gonna move this. You move that. This looks like a Chinese fire truck.
Close enough.
Let's stand for the pledge, please.
Now he gets up.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're finished playing musical chairs. Now we're going to start here.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board to order for June 1, 2009. Could I have a roll call, please?
Bernie Bassett,
Here.
Thomas Wood,
Here.
Sheila Brockway,
Here.
Gerard Benedette,
Here.
Mark Manning,
Here.
Steve Fossey,
We call to order at 6:35 p.m. and move right into the portion of our meeting where we invite anyone who'd like to address the board to do so, stating their name, address, and limiting their comments to 5 minutes, please. We'll move right along with Resolution 09-180.
Before we proceed with Resolution 09, just because we have other people in the audience, I want to make a comment. In addition to recording the meeting on for television purposes, you should each be made aware that there's also another recorder, two recorders in the room, just so that everybody understands that things are recorded in the meetings.
Thank you. Resolution 09-184.
resolved that the abstract of audited claims number 6A-0991106-91215 in the amount of $537,598.93 be received by the audit committee, and the supervisor is hereby authorized to pay said abstract.
Have a motion? Ms. Brockway, second.
Second.
Mr. Rendat, any discussion? No. And we'll have the minutes of the previous meeting next time.
Done after this one, probably can make a comment.
Any discussion on Resolution 184? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Benedette,
Yes.
Mark Manning,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Mr. Wood?
Yeah, I'd just like to make say one thing for the people that are watching that might not have seen the paper. We have a new town clerk, and Amy Duquette, who has been our town clerk, resigned, and this is the first day that our new town clerk, Rick Collins, is taking over. And I want to say that I really appreciate the work that Amy did in cleaning up the office and getting things filed and doing everything promptly and in a very professional manner. And I'm really proud of the way she worked during the time that she was clerk. And one of the testaments to the way she handled things was that she brought a very competent person in to work with her, who also is taking the job very seriously. And that's why I'm really happy that Ricky has agreed to be our interim town clerk until election.
Thank you, Tom. Ricky does have some shoes to fill, but he's been there. He's no stranger to the town of Plattsburgh. We all appreciate that. Resolution 185.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Phil Von Bargen, Planning and Engineering Department Head for the month of June 2009.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Brockway, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Did we take care of that road on this one, Sheila? Not yet.
Comes later.
This was in the draft, right? And I did speak to him about that Sunnyside Road versus name, so I expect that was changed in his final. We need to stay focused here. Any other discussion on this resolution? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes?
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Benedette,
Yes.
Mark Manning,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 09-186.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh welcome sign on the Commodore Thomas McDonald Highway has been equipped with the necessary hardware for the lighting. Therefore, be resolved that the town of Plattsburgh does hereby authorize activation of the street light on Commodore Thomas McDonald Highway for the town of Plattsburgh welcome sign. And it be further resolved that the supervisors hereby authorized to have New York State Electric and Gas energize said light with the expense to be paid from the general at-large street lighting department district.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadat, second.
I'll second.
Ms. Brockway. Any discussion?
Now, this is not actually street light, this is floodlight, lighting illuminating the sign.
Right. I believe they're tapping into the street light at
Right.
the corner as far as getting the power though.
I've been
Just wanted
down
to
there.
make
and
sure.
It's a
it's all-
sign light, correct.
I've been down there, it's all set up, ready to go.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes?
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes. Resolution 187.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh has received a request to authorize the installation and activation of a streetlight on Wildflower Road. Therefore, it be resolved that the town of Plattsburgh does hereby authorize the installation and activation of a new streetlight on Wildflower Road, identified as pole number 4 near box 16. And it is further resolved that the supervisor hereby authorized to have New York State Electric and Gas energize said streetlight with the expense to be paid from the Katyville Lighting District. And a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Brockway, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes?
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes. Resolution 188.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh encourages employees to strive to achieve their highest level of accomplishment and to continue to improve their skills. And whereas the town of Plattsburgh has a position in the water, wastewater maintenance supervisor that is vacant. And whereas this matter has come before the board in a previous work session, and David Comfort, water wastewater director, has recommended the position to be filled to be provided necessary services to the community and to meet the department's occasional needs. And whereas it is recommended by the director to fill this position be filled by Jason Covey, currently water wastewater maintenance mechanic. And whereas this appointment will become permanent once Mr. Covey has successfully completed the required civil service exam and met all requirements. Therefore, be resolved that the town of Plattsburgh appoint Mr. Jason Covey to the position of water wastewater supervisor effective the first pay period immediately following the civil service approval, with a wage increase equivalent to step grade 2.2%, which will become his new base rate of pay for a probationary period of 6 months, and that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and forwarded to the Clinton County Department of Personnel for civil service approval and filing.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadat. Any discussion?
Is the term correct? Position of water wastewater supervisor?
Water and wastewater maintenance supervisor. I will note one thing, in the last whereas, it says, once Mr. Covey has successfully completed the exam, he has completed, that should be an as, instead of once.
Where is that, Dave?
Last whereas, will become permanent once should be as.
Because.
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah. And the other thing to fill that spot, we have two individuals, one who's announced his retirement, and Bill Frenier, and Paul Wright, who has to pass the civil service exam to actually create that vacancy. But that's all part of the conditions that we know in general that have to be fulfilled as well.
And just to reiterate so that we're on the same path, in that final resolve, we are restating that position to say water and wastewater maintenance supervisor.
Yeah, the maintenance is all it is.
Okay.
We had it everywhere except the last result, I think.
Now, Rick, you are officially a town clerk. You just mastered changing a resolution on the fly.
Won't be the last time,
Oh,
much as you work with these, but that's the process, and that's a good process. Any other discussion? Does everyone understand, I know you've had some opportunity to work with this since our work session also, how that base pay is going to work and the why, obviously, it was a horizontal movement, it needs to be recognized. Good.
That's the way we're paying everybody else, the same.
Okay, very good. We'll have a roll call then.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette, Mark Manick,
yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes. Resolution 189.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh encourages its employees to strive to achieve their highest level of accomplishment and to continue to improve their skills and training. And whereas the need to fill the vacancy has become before the board at a previous work session, and Dave Comfort, the Director of Water and Wastewater, recommends Jason Henry to be promoted to the position of Water and Wastewater Maintenance Worker 2. And therefore be resolved that Jason Henry be promoted to the position of Water and Wastewater Maintenance Worker 2, effective the first pay period immediately following civil service approval, and upon adoption of a certified copy of the resolution be given to the budget officer and then forwarded to Clinton County Department of Personnel for civil service final approval and filing.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, Tom, you second that? Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes. The business can go forward. And I think as we've discussed more than one time, this is creating some entry-level positions that, as these become finalized, I'm sure Dave will let us know when he needs those positions to be filled. We've been a couple of years without a couple of spots, I believe.
Right, and this is a cascade effect with the movement of Paul Wright, and I might note that with Jason Henry's position as a non-competitive, so he will become permanent upon the completion of the probationary period because it is open and not encumbered. There are two, for Jason Covey's position, there are two supervisors' positions open, vacant physically, but encumbered, either until the exam's taken or until one retirement is complete. But Jason Henry's is open and ready for a permanent
Ready
position.
to go. Very good. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for coming this evening too, Dave. Now we're ready for OmniPoint, and let's get the resolutions on the table, and we'll have a chance for both or either of you to ask questions. Resolution 190.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh, whereas the town board of the town of Plattsburgh has received an application from Mr. Jeffrey W. Davis of Hitchcock and Barclay LLP on behalf of OmniPoint Communications Incorporated for a special use permit to allocate 6 antennas at the center line height, 121 feet of the town of Plattsburgh Hammond Lane water tank, with associated coaxial cables to be connected to an equipment shelter 8 by 14 at the base of the tank as shown on the plans prepared by C&S Engineering Incorporated. Revised date January 21st, 2009, and received by the Town of Plattsburgh Planning Department on January 27th, 2009. And whereas the town board has referred this request and supporting data pursuant to local law number 3 of the year 2003 to the town communications consultant, Comedy Communications Solutions Incorporated, for review and recommendation. And whereas Part 617 of the Environmental Conservation Law, State Environmental Quality Review Act, Section 8-0113, provides for review of any action to determine the effect of said action on the environment, along with any related administrative procedures for the implementation, authorization, or approval of said action. And whereas Part 617 of the Environmental Conservation Law provides for involved agency to review any action for the purpose of determining the said effect on said actions on the environment. And whereas said determination of the effect and said actions on the environment will be necessary to be determined whether a draft environmental impact study is required. And whereas the town is considered an involved agency in accordance with the state and local laws for the purpose of assessing the effect on this project on the environmental and whether or not said effect is significant enough to warrant the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement. And whereas the town board has determined that the project is an unlisted action in accordance with said environmental review procedures, the coordinated review will not be done. And whereas that the applicant has provided the town with site plan, maps, and material, and a completed seeker along environmental asset form, EAF, herein Part 1, and that EAF Part 2 has been prepared by the town planning department. Now therefore be resolved that the town board does hereby receive and place on file the plans prepared by CNS Engineers Incorporated, revised data, January 21st, 2009, and received by the Town of Plattsburgh Planning Department on January 27th, 2009, and previously revised application, maps, plans, completed EAF, and other related materials submitted by Mr. Jeffrey Davis of Hitchcock and Barclay LLP on behalf of OmniPoint Communications Incorporated, and that there be further resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh, after review of the plans prepared by CNS Engineers Incorporated, revised data January 21st, 2009, and received by the Town of Plattsburgh Planning Department on January 27th, 2009, and all previously received application, maps, plans, completed EAF, and other related materials submitted by Mr. Jeffrey W. Davis of Hitchcock and Barclay LLP on behalf of OmniPoint Communications, does hereby determine that the project will not have a significant effect on the environmental, and therefore the preparation of this does not require any, and to be further resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh does hereby authorize and direct the supervisor of the Town of Plattsburgh to prepare and execute a notice of no significant impact environmental declaration, negative declaration of this project, and be it therefore resolved that the notice of no significant environmental impact negative declaration shall be disseminated to those involved agency and the government units as required by said environmental conservation law of the Town of Plattsburgh, and of all related materials shall be maintained and filed in the town hall offices of the town board and available for public inspection.
Motion,
So
Mr. Renadette, second.
I'll second.
Ms. Brockway. Any discussion? Do either of you gentlemen feel there's any need for comment at this point?
more than willing to answer any questions.
Pretty straightforward, we've been through that. Very good. We'll have a roll call now.
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
Sheila Brockway?
Yes.
Gerard Renadette?
Yes.
Martin Mannix?
Yes.
Bernie Bassett?
Yes. Resolution,
Mr. Supervisor, if it would be all right with you, I might suggest we give the town clerk a break and I'll read the next resolution. He's had his induction under fire.
I was thinking the same thing, Marty.
let a few more lines out. You are more than welcome to do that if you would like, so you can catch his whistle. I'll
There
defer
you go.
to the clerk.
Resolution 9-191, special use compliance for Hammond Lane water tank. Whereas OmniPoint Communication Inc. has applied to place a wireless facility on the land and water tank of the parcel commonly known as the Hammond Lane water tank located at 124 Hammond Lane, Plattsburgh, New York. And whereas the application was reviewed for compliance with town code, and whereas the application has chosen the number one priority in the wireless code by collocating on the existing structure, and whereas the town board has reviewed the proposed facility under SEQA and determined that there is no impact to the environment, therefore be it resolved that a special use permit be granted to OmniPoint Communications, Inc. for a wireless facility at the Hammond Lanes water tank with the following conditions to be completed prior to the issuance of the building permit and start of construction. 1, OmniPoint shall provide the town with proof of the required issue insurance per section 24 of town law, and commercial general liability insurance policies shall specifically include the town and its officers, boards, employees, committee members, attorneys, agents, and consultants as additional named insureds. OmniPoint, as required per section 21 of the town law, shall provide a performance security bond in the amount of $25,000 to be in place with the town. OmniPoint will acknowledge in writing to the town that they shall indemnify the town utilizing the language of section 25 of the town's local law as follows. Section 25, indemnification. A, any application for wireless telecommunication facilities that is proposed for town property pursuant to this law shall contain a provision with respect to indemnification. Such provision shall require the applicant, to the extent permitted by law, to at all times defend, indemnify, protect, save, hold harmless, and exempt the town and its officers, boards, employees, committee members, attorneys, agents, and consultants from any and all penalties, damages, costs, or charges arising out of any and all claims, suits, demands, causes of action, or award of damages, whether compensatory or punitive, or expenses arising therefrom, either at law or in equity, which might arise out of or are caused by the placement, construction, erection, modification, location, products, performance, use, operation, maintenance, repair, installation, replacement, removal, or restoration of said facility, excepting, however, any portion of said claims, suits, demands, causes of actions, or awards for damages as may be attributable to the negligent or intentional acts or omissions of the town or its servants or agents. With respect to the penalties, damages, or charges referenced herein, reasonable attorney's fees, consultant's fees, and expert witness fees are included in those costs that are recoverable by the town.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadek, a second.
I'll second.
Ms. Brockway. Any discussion?
I appreciate the reading, but does this mean that included in here is if we repairs, we do painting on it, something like that, that we don't have to pay the cost of taking all the things down off of it and painting it, putting them all back up?
You're on, Dick.
Normally, if there's painting that's provided on a normal maintenance basis, your water district director will notify the applicant. They'll take down their services, modify it, move it at their cost, and put it back up. Right now, we've got a couple of painting issues underway because there were some problems with the two previous ones. That's being looked into on behalf of the previous applicants to take care of that. The indemnification that's in here is specifically so that those things are covered, as well as the fact, and I'd like to give a lot of credit in this particular case to OmniPoint. They did work with Dave and the water district and have already gone in and inspected the inside of the tank to make sure there weren't any problems previously, and there were nothing significant. They're going to go in after they've constructed this and check again to make sure. A lot of work has gone in on behalf of Dave Comfort, Phil Von Bargen, and everyone here in terms of getting this done. It does a couple more things. Number one, it gives you another carrier with some service in this area. And number two, it generates some more revenue for the town. So this is number one choice, and all of that's covered. I know that's a bit of a longer answer, sir, but yes, that's taken care
Well,
of.
it's not as long as this particular, which is one sentence, I think.
That was it. I kept waiting for a period.
We were just trying to make it a little wordy so that
I
reading it would be a little
appreciate that.
difficult.
For the average layperson, sometimes a little difficult catching it all when you read it.
Jeff, did you want to respond to that as well?
Yeah, I'll come up to the mic so you can all hear me. I just had one, I guess, a clarification or a point. In that indemnification language, I assume that that would mean it's indemnifying for OmniPoint's installation. The way it's written there, I just want to make sure that, if somebody else is, if the Verizon's on there, I know every other provider's on there, if there's something that goes on with their installation, it doesn't get attached to us. It would have to be something wrong with our installation. So I believe that's the intent of the paragraph. I think Dick would agree, but I just wanted to make sure that that's clarified. Maybe when we put that in writing, that we would put in its installations or OmniPoint's installations.
By the way, I was involved in writing this. That is the interpretation of it. And actually, the first word, any application, we're simply talking about their application and only their application. Okay? So it's very correct that it is just the OmniPoint application that they're indemnifying.
Should we have some additional language added onto this, a postscript as it were, we all know, standing here, you guys negotiated, this pertains to OmniPoint, but I mean, should something happen, I really don't think we need to get into some kind of legal wherewithal.
I think that simply the matter of placing in here, if you'd like, under the indemnification, simply some words that says in this case, we're talking the OmniPoint application and only OmniPoint.
Might we just insert right in the onset, any application by OmniPoint?
Right.
You have it, I think.
Let it run.
You have it in number 3, where it says OmniPoint will acknowledge in writing to the
Oh, there
town
it
that
is.
they...
It's already there.
It is OmniPoint.
Okay.
It's there.
Right, in our acknowledgement back, I will just add in whatever legalese I need to add in to just say, I think there's about the 4th line down, if we put in its application, retaining to the placement, construction, erection, modification of its equipment, something like that. I think that clarifies it for my legal purposes.
Right. And I think you're absolutely right. We want to make sure, like I said, the 5 of us sitting here, if something happened tomorrow, be not a problem. But if 5 years from now, the political makeup could change, and we don't want to have to be going
The
by.
intent
Where were
is-
you saying that it should be put?
If you look down here, it says, which might arise out of or caused by the placement, construction, erection, modification, location, products, performance.
I'm not sure where you're reading.
The
Repair.
second page.
Yep.
I'm looking at one here that was sent to me in the mail, so.
Right in there, right there,
Yeah.
which might arise out of. Which might arise out of.
Okay.
Repair, I'll start at operation, maintenance,
I see what you're saying.
repair. And then of said facility, the facility is defined actually in the code. I think there is where we put of OmniPoint's installation.
A question then. This says, and I might be misinterpreting this, but it says this is section 25 of the town's local law. Are we then changing the town's local law?
No.
No,
No,
no, all we're
You're
doing is
referencing
making
you're
sure
utilizing the
that it
language.
specifies the application that we're pertaining to here in front of us.
So we're not quoting the town's law here.
That was not the intent. The intent was simply to put the indemnification in writing.
Well, I just, okay.
And he's got to
That's why I
respond
wanted
to
know
it in
about this
writing.
and the other,
There would be
because
an
if we're
agreement that would get signed, and that indemnification would be
Correct.
part of that.
And we'll also make sure the minutes reflect the conversation as well.
Right.
So we'll be fine.
That's sufficient. Thank you. That was my only
Okay.
comment.
One other question that we had, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, I've got the LED light that we had talked about, was that part of the OmniPoint?
No,
No,
Okay.
separate.
Okay.
That is totally a separate issue, and we're still addressing that
Okay.
and some other things, and we're working toward that. It's not quite as easy as it
No, I understand that.
but we're getting there.
Okay.
But folks, that this is now 6 applications you have on 2 water tanks, which I think this has been highly
We're going to fill up
successful.
some more water tanks pretty soon.
Well, that's what you just got to pick the right piece of property.
It'll get used. So.
They will. And I think this is excellent for the community.
this has been a real process also, and I feel Dick has done a great job to represent the town's interest. I know it's been sometimes challenging for OmniPoint, but you and I think Dick said it very well, in the end, you really did the things that the town needed to protect our interests, the quality of the water, which was Dave's number 1, as it should be. The testing of the water prior and post is like an insurance policy. I mean, nobody's arguing that, and it eliminated all the questions and all the doubt. We appreciate
Well,
that.
from an OmniPoint perspective, we want to eliminate that. Because if there's something wrong in the tank, we want the proof in the pudding that we didn't cause
We
it.
didn't do it.
So
Absolutely.
by doing the test beforehand and the test afterward, even though it's on our dime and we're doing that, that is something that can be pointed to say, we did all the examination afterwards, there was no damage to the tank. If there's something else that's wrong on there, you gotta look at somebody else that's on there, because we're the only one at this point that would have that documentation.
Kind of like the leasing taking pictures before they move in and when they move out.
Very much so, yeah, and in this case, it just required us to put a rover into the tank to do it, because you can't get, you can't walk around inside there, so, but we were able to work it out through the town and get it done. It was more of a scheduling and a working with the county to make sure that we were doing it under the correct procedures than anything else.
Right, Board of Health was absolutely, John Canosa and his people, just phenomenal as well. We talk a lot in government about sharing services, and obviously a lot of value. Co-locating on a property, the water tank that was designed for a totally different purpose is something, we've not taken lightly, as you well know, but we've also proven we can do it, so it works for everybody. And I appreciate both of you and all your work these past months.
Well,
Thank you.
it hasn't just been us, it's been the staff from your community
No.
that's worked very hard at this also.
Right.
This has not been easy.
That's true.
Okay, don't get the idea that this one or any of these have been easy. It's been done well, and I think it's appropriate, and it'll end up with the appropriate service and everything else the way it should have been done.
Good.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you both for coming this evening.
No problem,
Thank you.
Minor point, and the third whereas, should strike one of those L's in co-locating.
Okay, anything else while we're in discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call, please.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution, thank you, John. Resolution 192.
Whereas Luck Brothers Incorporated has submitted a request for payment, request 1, for work done from January 28, 2009 to April 30th, 2009 for Champlain Park Pump Station. And whereas Labarge Group has reviewed and verified said work, now therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to make payment number 2 for the voucher dated June 1st, 2009 in the amount of $407,081.15 as periodic estimate number 2 payment to Luck Brothers Incorporated. And it is further resolved that said payment to be made payable to Luck Brothers Incorporated, 73 Trade Road, Plattsburgh, New York, from the Champlain Park Pump Station District Improvement Capital Projects.
Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
I'll second
Ms.
that.
Brockway, any discussion?
It must be the second request.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, it is.
We already paid one.
As this unfolded, I thought I was going to address, since one had been made, and now we have a two. And I guess you were going there, Tom. The first whereas request should be request number 2, not a 1. Request number 2, looking at it. So. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. I think one of the things Ricky might be at, position you might be at, Rick, as we've all been there many times, some of these things look a lot easier from a distance than they are when you're in the shoes, don't they?
Yeah.
A lot going on, a lot of preparation, a lot of time to get to something as simple as a resolution enacting those hours that don't get seen. With that said, Resolution 193.
Whereas the town of Schuyler Falls has expressed an interest in having the town of Plattsburgh operate and maintain their water system. And whereas on April 27, 2009, the town of Schuyler Falls passed a resolution 09-33 in support of entering into a contract with the town of Plattsburgh to have the Burge Group perform an evaluation to determine if sharing the town of Plattsburgh water operation resources can be effectively utilized by the town of Schuyler Falls to realize a cost savings and effective sharing of services. And whereas the town of Schuyler Falls has agreed to pay a lump sum fee of $14,625 plus reimbursable expense to the LaBerge Group to do said study. Now therefore be resolved that the town of Plattsburgh retain the LaBerge Group to complete a study as per tax scope and report the findings of, with recommendations which will be made to the town of Plattsburgh as to the feasibility of the town of Plattsburgh assuming the operation and maintenance of the Schuyler Falls water system. And it be further resolved that the supervisor be authorized to enter into an agreement with the LaBerge Group to do said evaluation. A certified copy of this resolution to be shared with the town of Schuyler Falls and an MOU be entered into as an agreement of payment of the services as indicated.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion?
I just would comment that hopefully this study will prove what we think it will prove. And I think what's outstanding about this is that it's a good example of, two communities entering into an agreement to share services and consolidate their efforts. And I'm optimistic that it will prove to be beneficial to both municipalities.
Correct, and I think a lot, as we were just discussing with putting antenna on a water tank, the attorneys and hours and research and negotiations and discussions to get to that point, you do have to go through a process. And in this situation, to protect the town's interests and concerns, the town of Schuyler Falls has agreed to pay the fee for study and recommendation to see if we should go forward. I commend them for being willing to make that kind of investment to make sure we both know what we would be getting into. And I know I've spoken with RJ about this. One of my concerns is, and I put it in the resolution, that there are some recommendations, whatever is felt needs to be done or should be done to improve the system now or in the future, any upgrades, any potential for expansion. Now would be the time to know. So I very much look forward to that study, and I'll say as you, hopefully it works well. The town, and I think Dave's done an outstanding job, really is a bit of a premier municipality as far as the production, the testing, the distribution, and the maintenance of a water system. And I think if we looked at a similar system with a similar number of customers served, we find that we have a hard-working crew in order to maintain this at the level they do. And the testing, as we've discussed in some other sessions, our tests have come back perfect for quite some time. I mean, I don't know when the last time was we had a boil water order. And anything can happen with lines that break, and a contractor that hooks a water line, you have to go in there. It just is, it's very good. So I think the town of Schuyler Falls recognizes we certainly could be an asset to them. We'll see how this plays out. This might be a nice model for the future for us or other municipalities as well.
No, and here it says, and the town of Eatontown. They included in the study, but they're not.
No, not at this time. They don't have the same needs as Schuyler Falls does. So you'll note, I'm not sure which report you have, but the Schuyler Falls cost of $14,625 is 75% of a full study. Eatontown had some interest. Their interests are a little different. We offered to them to be part of this inclusive study at the same time. And they just said that really isn't their need at this time.
Okay, so that's why the resolution from Schuyler Falls included Eatontown then.
Correct. But they're also noting they're only paying their portion.
Yes.
So we'll only do that portion. Unless something were to change before LaBerge Group gets involved, then the other 25% would be charged to the Eatontown municipality.
And that could be covered in a separate resolution, just for that portion of it.
And they would have to do one for their portion. You know, it really is working together, within the departments and the municipal leadership. So we'll see where this ends up. It'll be an exciting report to review. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Benedict, Mark Manick,
Yes.
Ernie Bass.
Yes. Resolution 194.
Whereas the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base was closed pursuant to 1990 Base Realignment and Closure Act, as amended on September 30th, 1995. As of March 9th, 2001, the Secretary of the United States Air Force, on behalf of the United States of America, the Air Force, and the County of Clinton Industrial Development Agency, enter into a certain economic development conveyance agreement, whereby, among other things, the CCIDA agreed to accept the lease in furtherance of the conveyance relating to certain lands compromising the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base, the EDC property, and further agreed to accept the deed or deeds from the EDC property or portions thereof when tendered by the Air Force Base. Copies of the EDC agreement and the EDC license are annexed here to Exhibit A. And whereas simultaneously the execution and delivery of the EDC agreement and the EDC license by and between the Air Force and the CCIDA and the seller entered into a certain lease agreement effective as of January 1, 2001. The EDC lease, hereby the seller agrees to lease the EDC property, whereby the seller further agrees to accept the deed or deed conveying the EDC property or portions thereof to the seller. When tendered by the CCIDA, a copy of the EDC lease is annexed hereto as Exhibit B. And whereas the EDC property includes the property subject to this agreement, there is defined as the property, and the use and occupancy of the property is governed by the EDC agreement, the EDC license and EDC lease, and whereas the purchaser desires to purchase the property from the seller, and whereas the seller and the purchaser desire to enter into this agreement to set forth the terms and conditions upon which Park will sell to the town of Plattsburgh property on Park, known as Lot 61 for $1. Now therefore be resolved in consideration of foregoing the mutual promises henceforth set forth, and other goods and valuable considerations, the receipt and sufficiency of to which are hereby acknowledged, the parties agree as per agreement, and it further be resolved, the recital set forth above the incorporated in and made part of this effective agreement benefits the agreement shall ensure to the benefit of and to be binding upon the parties hereto with their respective successors and assignments. Nothing in this agreement expressed or implied is intended to confer on to any other person or any other parties, and therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute any contract or agreement and condition with Park transferring the property of Lot 61 for $1, and his or her designating as further authorized to sign purchase agreement, purchase to said contract and or agreement.
Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
I'll second.
Ms. Brockway, any discussion?
Did we negotiate it down?
A little bit.
David, did you achieve what I, looks like a 90%
Suggested we work it
reduction?
down, so I called them up.
We weren't going to say anything, just to see if anyone picked
Oh,
up.
I
I saved
did, I said-
$10 on that one.
I'm thinking to myself, I thought it was $10, and then it's like $1, okay?
I'd like to find some more properties at
Yeah.
that price. let me
We have
tell
some
you.
good negotiators here, I must say.
And again, I just want to say,
That's a 90% reduction. though.
Yeah.
I just want to say for the record, the relationship that the department, the Water Sewer Department, Dave Comfort as director personally, has had in working with Mr. Stedman, with Park, has certainly created a climate that enabled this small piece of property, but a very big piece of property with some significant future advantages for the town to basically be given to us. And we really appreciate this gesture on behalf of Park and again, the climate that was created that fostered this kind of situation. It's very good, very good. If anyone has any other comments, we had discussed this, as you all know, in work session. Then we will have a roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Benedek.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
I looked at my packet this evening and said, oh my, but these 2 inches were that one resolution to be finished tomorrow. Resolution, pardon?
Vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I'm already thinking through it.
So we need to vote on that.
Roll call. I don't have. Yes. Okay. Did you get my vote on that, Ricky?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going through already. 195.
Whereas Resolution 07-230 was passed changing Airport Road to Industrial Boulevard 1, when the request name should have been Industrial Boulevard. And whereas Fred Levine, Deputy Highway Superintendent, provided the town board of the town of Plattsburgh with a letter outlining his support for the request from Emergency Services in regard to the request that Airport Road name change be Industrial Boulevard. Therefore, be resolved that the town of Plattsburgh, that the town board of the town of Plattsburgh hereby accept the name change request from Kelly Donahue, Assistant Director, Offices of Emergency Services, and send the change to Clinton County Planning Board relative to Industrial Boulevard as the town of Plattsburgh approved the road name change in place of Industrial Boulevard 1.
So motion. Mr. Manick, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadek. This is one you did not see in executive session or in work session.
Somebody just read a 1 into it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a typo or what happened, but it was brought to our attention by Emergency Services that the original resolution was Industrial Boulevard 1. And for the record, we needed to clean that up with a new resolution. So,
But nobody has Industrial Boulevard 1, so why do we have to change it?
well, because they said so.
They haven't got Industrial Boulevard, I bet you they don't have Industrial Boulevard 1.
Well, the other thing that, you know, I'm in agreement that we will change it to Industrial Boulevard, but I also believe that we will be going back at another time doing a change of that road, because I do not foresee that property being developed as industrial property. And it would be then a non-sector to have it so indicated.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Probably right on the money. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Benedek.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, that is the last resolution I have. I don't know if anyone had any other business, but I do want to remind everyone that this coming Monday, a week from this evening, on June 8th, our work session will begin at 6:30 at South Plattsburgh, and then we will move to Cliff Haven at 7:30.
Unless the building's occupied. by
Unless the
somebody
building
not
is
supposed to be there.
occupied, then we'll have to punt. Okay, in that case, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
I'll second.
Ms. Brockway, any discussion on that? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Sheila Brockway,
Yes.
Gerard Benedek.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, we'll stand adjourned at 7:25. Everyone drive safely.
I've got every book there is. I can go back and
That's
all the
what
ones.
I like.
Yeah, I can go through all the rules.
We gotta get Jim sometime
Some-
about only